Clear prop.
Another exciting day. I'm about to fly this, an American champion Super Decathlon, to compete in the 2025 Queensland State Aerobatic Championships. The competition was held at Watts Bridge Memorial Airfield, about a 25-minute flight northwest of Aresti, and the first challenge was to get there in less than ideal conditions.
Archer ground, good day. Super Decathlon, Sierra India Sierra, request taxi for Western departure bearing 280 from the southern apron, run-ups complete with Alpha.
Sierra Archer ground, good morning. Taxi to... In fact, are you in the run-up bay at the moment? Are you closer to Sierra 1 or Alpha 2?
I'm just at the run-up bay Sierra 1.
Sierra, in that case, taxi to holding point Sierra 1, runway 28 right.
Taxi Sierra 1, runway 28 right, Sierra India Sierra.
I don't know if you're coming back or not, but just looking at the weather radar to the north, you probably already saw it. Looks like that weather's just approaching Caboolture, heading our way.
Copy that, yes. I've seen the weather, thanks.
Now you've got to hand it to Archerfield Traffic Control. They go above and beyond keeping us safe, and it's really appreciated. And there was indeed some pretty bad weather heading our way, but I had plenty of fuel on board and alternate airfields available to the south where it was clear.
Clear of the zone.
Despite a wall of fog on my right and low cloud the whole way,
And the path is clear through to Watts Bridge.
I made it to Watts Bridge in time for an 8 a.m. briefing, which of course, given the low cloud, didn't end up happening.
Watts Bridge traffic, Super Decathlon, Sierra India Sierra, joining 3 mile final, runway 30 left. Full stop, Watts Bridge.
Watts Bridge traffic, 6 Kilo Kilo Tango, 10 miles south, 1000 inbound, Watts Bridge.
See, you need height to do aerobatics safely. So we ended up spending the next day and a half hanging out in the clubhouse, drinking too much coffee and talking about planes before the cloud finally burned off and the aerobatics got underway. This was my second year competing, and I'd moved up to the Sportsman level where there were 8 competitors. So let's see who I was up against. We have this very nice RV7, a pit special, another pit special, there was lots of pit special. There's another one. And the mighty Super Decathlon. And there were 2 of us sharing this plane. And also the Robin here. And there's Terry in the background with another pit special. Anyway, I drew the short straw and I got to go first.
Watts Bridge traffic, Sierra India Sierra, Super Decathlon, crossing runway 12 right, entering 12 left for departure into the aerobatics box, Watts Bridge.
Sierra India Sierra, you can transfer the box into the airborne. See you then.
Sierra India Sierra.
Here's the sequence card for the first program, and it more or less shows what your flight should look like from the judge's perspective. There are several pairs of judges who score each figure out of 10, and after a whole bunch of number crunching, you end up with a total score out of 100. All of this has to take place inside a 1 kilometre square with an upper and lower limit called the box. Go outside the box and you'll lose more points. Now before starting a sequence, you can do a couple of safety figures. At the Sportsman level, that's a loop and 2 half rolls. They let us do this to make sure that the aircraft's safe and to get a feel for the wind before you start the actual sequence and get scored for it.
Check.
Alright, there's the judges next to the buildings. Buildings are the judges.
So there's me reminding myself that the judge's location is my primary reference. I can't tell you how many things are going through my head at this point. Airspeed, altitude, wind direction, wind strength, positioning in the box, did I leave the oven on? Also, trying to remember the sequence. To signal the start of your sequence, you rock your wings 3 times. The first figure in this sequence was an easy one, just a 45-degree climb.
Alright, here we go. And up 45. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000.
Then I've pulled the power to idle, ready for a 1-turn spin. There's the stall warning buzzer, and there's the spin.
Check.
Next is an Immelman, or a half loop with a roll off the top.
Check.
And you can see I've come out of that in a really nose-high attitude because the airspeed at this point is really slow. Next is a goldfish.
1,000, 2,000, 3,000.
And you can see I'm frequently looking to my left, and that's so I can judge my pitch angle. And I'll also look down for the judge's location as I finish each figure for positioning.
Check. 1, 2, roll. Check. 1, 2. Check.
Next, we've got a shark's tooth.
1, 2. Check. 1, 2. Humpty.
This one's called a humpty bump. I don't know who's in charge of naming these, but this is basically a loop with a vertical up and a down section.
Check. 1, 2. Check.
Next, we've got one of my favourites, a stall turn, which again is probably misnamed because you're not actually stalling if you do it right.
One, 2, 3.
Then we had a loop. Now anyone can fly a loop in a plane. All you need is enough airspeed and pull back on the stick. But in a competition, it has to look like a perfectly round circle from the judge's perspective, adjusting for wind and airspeed. So it's actually a highly dynamic execution of applied math throughout the whole thing, and it's one of the hardest figures to score well in.
Check.
Next up, the easiest figure in the whole routine, just a regular old steep turn, just like we do at Heckfield back home. Then 2 half rolls to finish it off. The cameras I'm using are smoothing the motion out a bit here. It's a bit more crisp and precise than it looks. And then 3 more wing waggles to signal to the judges that the routine's complete. And it's at this point where your brain finally catches up to what you're doing and you realise you're still faced with the entirely non-trivial task of landing a plane.
Watts Bridge traffic, Super Decathlon, Sierra India Aerobatic Fox, 1,200 on descent to 1,300. Joining a right downwind for 12 right, Watts Bridge.
Sierra, g'day again, and no one from.
As I mentioned earlier, the judges' scores and any penalties all go into a big mystery algorithm and it comes up with a score out of 100. For this sequence, I scored an 80.8%, which I was really happy with, and that put me in 3rd place for Program 1. Day 2 of the competition, a little bit of fog around. It's 20 to 7 in the morning. Hopefully it'll lift and we'll get a big day in. This will be it. There's the Robin. All the other planes are in hangars. The fog did lift and the weather was even better than the previous day, so now it was time for Program 2. And while the first flight was a known sequence, which we'd been given months in advance, this second flight was an unknown sequence. And we only got to see that for the first time a day ago. Which means at an aerobatics competition, you're going to see a lot of this sort of behaviour. It's totally normal. So we had our usual briefing for the day, and then it was time to attempt the unknown sequence.
Okay.
The first figure is what we call a P-loop. You've got to make sure you have that vertical upline before you pull into a normal loop.
And up we go. 1 banana, 2 banana.
Next, my favourite, the stall turn.
Stall turn. Check. 1, 2, 3.
It was a bit sloppy this one, but I managed to come out at the right angle. After that was something I'd never attempted in a plane before. This was the first time I'd tried doing this. This is called a bow tie. It involves pulling up to 45 degrees.
1 banana, roll.
Then rolling.
2, 3.
Pulling back hard till you're flying straight down. Then pulling all the way back up again to a 45-degree upline. After capping out off the top and slowing down, it was time for a 1 1/4 spin. Now, as you can imagine, that quarter turn is going to put you heading across the box, either towards the judges or away from them. And that can get pretty disorienting. The next figure was a humpty again, but this time you do another quarter turn on the way down, which should result in heading back downwind. After that was a half loop and a roll off the top. Followed by one of the easiest figures, a 360-degree steep turn. And here I'm delaying the start of that because there was quite a strong westerly wind, so you can see me checking the judge's position and holding off to put me in the best location to stay in the box. Now, this was the first unknown sequence I've ever attempted in a competition, and I'm proud to say I pulled off the win for this flight with an 82.3%.
Check. Check.
And the final figure was just a straight up aileron roll. Now, I won't bore you with the final program. It was just a repeat of the known sequence, and although I started pretty strong, I choked it on the last 2 figures. Who knows where I would have ended up, but as it turned out, I came away with 3rd for the competition. Really happy with that, but I will definitely be back next year. And you should come and join me. You don't even need your own aircraft. Just ring up UPRT at Archerfield and get your aerobatics endorsement and come and join in the fun. There's practice weekends every month at Watts Bridge, and the members of the club are such a great bunch of people. And despite what you might think, they're really quite humble. This sport will do that to you, but it will also make you a much better pilot. So come and get involved. Anyway, we'll see you on the next one.
November Zulu Tango, competitor 19, contact teeth 12505.